Hello, Fraggles. Welcome to the May 29th edition of This Is a Talk Show. I'm having like the worst allergies in my life. I don't know about you right now, but so I am not at my best, but I'm still gonna try to do a couple of good songs for you today. We have some great guests as well. Anyway, here's one of my favorites. You with the sad eyes. Don't be discouraged, though I realize it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You could lose sight of it all, and the darkness so inside you makes you feel so small. But I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful like a rainbow. Show me a smile then. Don't be unhappy, can't remember when I last saw you laughing. If this world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear, just call me up, because you know I'll be there, and I'll see your true colors shining through. I'll see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful. I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful like a rainbow. And now, welcome back, your host for today, Adam Bailey.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Kristin, and thank you all for joining us. We have a wonderful show today. We have film actor Raymond Tong joining us, and then we have TikTok sensation Hanna Amelia here as well. But first, the monologue. And what a week it has been for a monologue. I mean, when this week started out, I'm pretty certain that Lil Nas X thought that he had the queer headline of the week for exposing his body when the crotch ripped out of his pants while performing live on SNL, showing off his junk to every single one of us. But no, Elliot Page had to say, "Hold my beer" midweek with this thirst trap photo taken after their gender confirmation surgery. I mean, this dude has abs. Look at those abs. This dude is a twunk. He is certainly very hot, and I am jealous of those abs. You could grate cheese on those abs, and I know a lot about grating cheese at this moment in the pandemic because that's all I've been eating. I mean, okay, Elliot, do bros a favor, because 2021 is not the year of the twunk, it's the year of the chunk, which is why I have to give the best topless male photo of the past 2 weeks to actor Will Smith, seen here showing off his dad bod, or as I like to call it, his father figure. You know, I spent most of my life looking up to Will Smith, mostly because he's taller than me, but also because as a teenager, he was the teenager that you wanted to be. And then when I was an acting student in theater school, he was the action hero that you always wanted to be. But I never could be any of the things that he's been until COVID gave us something in common: a COVID belly. So here's to you, Will Smith. Oh, speaking of people with bellies, Seth Rogen made the news this week when he was found out to be a white male comedian with a reasonable point of view on cancel culture and terrible jokes in general. Although his point of view wasn't that new or controversial, he just stated the well-known fact that jokes age, and sometimes not that well. I mean, the art of comedy is kind of based on the fact that it is all contextual. The same joke that you would tell at your best friend's roast is not necessarily the same joke you would tell at your best friend's funeral. Context changes everything. And sometimes context can change in a couple of hours, almost always in a couple of weeks, and certainly within the time span of a year. I mean, we all know that we are not sharing the same jokes at the beginning of this pandemic that we were at the end. And to that point, the social IQ it takes to tell good jokes is so high that a lot of social scientists and evolutionary theorists have supposed that it is the reason we have such high IQs and big brains as human beings, because the sense of humor, the IQ needed to tell it to pick up a new mate, turned our IQs into a runaway secondary sex trait, like a peacock's feather, which does make sense out of why most of the guys who defend bad jokes are the same ones who can't get laid. Now, for anyone who thinks that cancel culture is the end of shock, humor, and offense, they're cherry picking their facts. I mean, just look at these top-notch quality shows that you can stream right now. We've got BoJack Horseman. We've got HBO's Veep. We've got Big Mouth on Netflix. All of these shows are lauded. They're television at their best, and all of them use shock and offense to make the points that they're trying to make, pushing the boundaries of good taste. In stand-up comedy, many comedians make their careers and break into fame saying shocking and offensive things, and many comedians continue to stay relevant and important by using shock and offense to draw attention to important observations that we should all know. And it's not a generational thing either. We still all revere John Waters. I mean, this director made his entire career based on pushing the boundaries of what is good taste. And no one has come to cancel him yet, despite the fact that I've heard he has made some of his actors eat shit, literally. And even people and styles of comedy that seemed beyond the pale back in the day have come back into favor. If you told an SJW back in 2006 that Borat would be making a play for an Oscar because it was such an excellent feminist film, they would be plotzing themselves. And yet, my wife, here it is. You know, 3 cheers to Seth Rogen for saying something that needed to be pointed out to all of us, which is saying terrible things is awful. Speaking about terrible things, this week of news has not been the greatest. I mean, the US of A has had a huge spike in gun violence as they do their favorite activity, cosplaying The Purge. Canada has not escaped being a horror show of its own, however, as 215 bodies of Indigenous children were found buried underneath a residential school, either murdered through neglect or murdered outright, covered up and hidden from history until this week. And this week was also the 1-year anniversary of the senseless murder of George Floyd. So I hope that our guests are ready for the news roundup at the end of the show, because it has been a heavy week. One gleaming bright light is that the Trump organization is having a grand jury called to look in criminal charges. Now, I do worry that Donald Trump facing any consequences for his action at this point in his life would be some sort of apocalyptic prophecy being fulfilled, but well, but, you know, I've heard that he has an anus face before, but that photo, that really does look like an anus. I mean, look at that little pucker. Kristin, come back. Kristin, come back. Look at this face. Does that face not look like an anus to you?
Yeah, I'd call that a butt face. That's a definite butt face.
That's a butt. He wears makeup, Kristin.
I know. I'm the one who told you that. He wears makeup on purpose to look like that.
choices.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a hideous, like that looks like an orangutan's anus right there. That is a butt face.
This is some excellent content we're giving
This
right
is
now.
amazing internet content.
Yeah.
Kristen, how is your week going? By the way.
Well, I've taken down Donald Trump's butt face, if that's okay. I'll put
Oh,
it
that's
back
more
up.
than okay. No one needs to look
Yeah.
at that any
Yeah,
longer.
okay. No, it's fine. Other than my allergies that I was talking about at the beginning of the show, which is a proud pandemic tradition. Like, and do you remember the first SARS back in 2003 or whenever that was?
Yes, we had a giant SARS fest. There was a giant concert where we crowded people into a space to celebrate a pandemic we were having. It
wasn't the same. It wasn't the same at all. But that's when I developed ragweed allergies that year. So I was semi-convinced that I had SARS. And it was just, I developed a new allergy, and there's some kind of mutant tree pollen this year because of global warming, which is great.
There's a mutant tree pollen
No, I think there's just more of it than usual. So the Montreal area is experiencing like tree pollen SARS fest, I guess. So,
oh my.
Yeah. So I was like, do I have it? Did I finally catch it? And it's like, no, I took some allergy pills and it got better. So I'm like, oh, but it still sucks. Anyway, this is also extremely great internet content. Let's all talk about our health problems.
Hey, people want to know about allergies. That is why they tune in.
Yeah.
I actually heard that allergies get worse, pollen gets worse every year because of global warming. So
great. Yeah.
All allergies get worse every year. It's always the worst year for allergies. So now anyone who thinks they're being a hypochondriac, now you know every year is the worst year.
Yeah.
It's like every year is the last year that Burning Man was good. Every year is the worst year for allergies.
It's only May. Oh my God. It's barely started. Like Montreal is like you get 6 months of winter and then 6 months of allergies. Is that like just life now?
Montreal, but you also get magic, right? You are the city in Canada that has joie de vivre, so
I guess so. Yes. Our we've just ended our curfew, so we can leave the house after 9:30 p.m. again. And les terrasses sont ouvertes. You can go have a drink on a patio, but we don't call them patios because we're more sophisticated here now.
What do you call them? The terrace?
Les terrasses, yeah, terraces. Yeah, they're called patios. That's what we call them here. I haven't done it yet because they just opened them yesterday. So, but it's possible.
Yeah, don't be the first person through that door. I know that restaurants they all need us, but don't be the person. I'm not going to be the first person to the door, and not just for pandemic reasons, for pure selfish reasons, because like every restaurant right now is going through a hot open at the exact same time as they open, and I've worked in restaurants. I know what a hot open is like. I do not want to experience that but if you have the money and it's safe where you are, go and support your local businesses.
Go support your local businesses.
So support your local businesses
and tip really, really well. So shall we predict the future, Adam?
Sure, let's predict the future.
All right.
Adam and Kristin predict
sorry, it took me a second to turn on my keyboard.
So what are your predictions this week? Usually I have something to jump in on, but I feel very vindicated that there's a lot of articles about how dogs are behaving badly right now, because that was one of my big predict the futures before, was that there's gonna be a lot of dog bites when the pandemic.
A lot of dogs with anxiety because they're not used to being alone. Yeah. I predict the rise of the ferret as a pet, largely because I saw someone walking a ferret on a leash in my neighborhood not long ago, and someone I follow on Twitter was just talking about that earlier today, and I'm like, there are 2 people in the world who walk their ferrets on leashes. The ferret is going to make a comeback.
The ferret is making a comeback. It's because they do better on their own when you're not at home. They're very self-entertaining. I have no data on ferrets. I know nothing about ferrets other than it's not normal to walk them on leashes if you are a ferret owner. That's not normal. I think I've seen a ferret on a. I think if you had a weasel or an otter, that would be very unique. But a ferret, that's a.
Well, those are wild animals that you don't keep as pets. I mean, if you had an otter as a pet, would it just like live in your bathtub? Like, what would you have to do?
I don't know. Who do I look like? The Lion King? I would just have pet. Like if I had a wild pet, I would probably just not know that I wasn't supposed to have it. I'd be more like the woman who has all the opossums and makes all the YouTube videos about. Oh, do you not know about the opossum lady?
I do not know about the opossum lady. Does she have pet opossums?
Oh yeah, she rescues opossums, i.e. steals them from the wilderness and turns them into her pets. But very successfully, they seem to be loving their life. And she does all these videos about how to properly massage your opossum and like how to trim and paint your opossum's nails. And like, so basically she's turned her home into opossum spa land. And these opossums just get like spa treatment life. They seem very chill and relaxed. They are definitely like, okay, this lady wants to take care of me. I am fine with that. Either that or because they have no defense mechanisms, they just are frozen with fear. Who knows?
All the time. We have a data point from the chat. Megan Liley informs us that she saw someone walking down the street with 3 ferrets and a baby carrier. So obviously ferrets are making a comeback. Thank you for that.
Ferrets are making a comeback. That is fantastic. Don't call it a comeback. We were never really gone.
Speaking for the ferret community, Hanna Amelia.
Ferret community. This is, I love one prediction. That's all we have time for today because it's about ferrets. And ferrets are awesome, as so are opossums.
Leave the opossums in the wild, though. Please don't do that. If that lady wants to follow our account, though, and promote us on YouTube, I will rescind my anti-opossums in the house stance.
Well, I think you need to watch her video. It's a rabbit hole. I just want to warn you, watching these videos, you get sucked in because there's so much care that this woman gives to her opossums that you will be there.
All right.
Fantastic. Well, that's a big. You had things to say about Trump not going to jail was one of your big predictions.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Like, I know everyone wants to, but guys, that's like the liberal QAnon, right? Like the first QAnon post was Hillary Clinton is going to jail. Just you wait. Well, it's been 4 years. She's not in jail yet. Donald Trump is not going to jail. It's not going to happen.
I love how liberal QAnon is just wanting something very reasonable and something that you should expect to happen.
Yes.
And conservative QAnon is batshit crazery.
Yes, I know. Well, that's the world we live in, but no, it's not happening. Don't get your hopes up. Probably they'll find someone will go to jail, maybe for something. Some underling will go to jail, or they'll find them some money, which they'll pay or not pay, and nothing bad will happen to him, and he'll live out the rest of his days like a vengeful ghost at Mar-a-Lago, crashing people's weddings and making weird speeches from the steps. That's like the future.
Oh wow! So like, this isn't something that ends when Trump dies. Ghost Trump will also crash your wedding.
Oh no, he's like a ghost now, right? Because he's just sort of wandering around and like, you know, unless some like he sort of puts out statements that are like rambling tweets. I don't know if you've seen any of them. I always think they're jokes and they're not. That he's like, yeah.
They're just ramble. The word count really helped Trump in the Twitterverse. He was one of those people who that was a benefit for. The statements that he's leaving right now are word salad. No one takes them seriously. No one reads them. That is what, like, one thing that is fantastic is that those notices that he gives us, everyone's just like, nope, don't have time to interpret what you're saying.
Yeah. Off into the void.
Someone who knows how to interpret things. Our first guest today, Raymond Tong, is an actor who spends a lot of his time interpreting roles. And so everyone, please put your hands together for film actor Raymond Tong. Yay!
Hello! Thanks for having me.
Welcome to our screens.
Yeah.
So, how are you doing? How are you enjoying your pandemic?
You know, I'm an introvert, so this is great for me. And yeah, like I'm just watching movies, reading books, and playing video games, and not talking to people.
Movies. You haven't just been watching movies. You've been filming movies too, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been doing a couple short films here and there. One's coming out soon. It's called Distant Cousins. It actually premieres tomorrow at the Wild Indie Sci-Fi Fantasy Film.
Okay, well, that's the third photo we have up. So let's bring up that photo of Distant Cousins, so our audience can see what.
Oh, sorry, that's not Distant Cousins. Uncanny Valley. Sorry.
No. You mentioned Distant Cousins first.
Distant Cousins is not ready yet, but
Uncanny Valley. So we are going to go with the first one. Okay, so this is the one you're talking about. See, this is how successful that you're being right now, Raymond. You don't know.
I know, I'm confusing him
right now. So this is Uncanny Valley.
Yeah,
and it already has a bunch of laurels on it. How did it get so many laurels if it's premiering tomorrow?
We started the festival run in spring, but we finished filming in 2019. But COVID put a wrench in everything, so we're just going hard for the festivals. Yeah, so we're an official selection for Wild Indie and Oakville Film Festival. Yeah,
That's
we're
fantastic. And
very proud of it.
what is this movie about?
It's a sci-fi noir, kind of like Blade Runner. I play a detective who's disgruntled, who's hired to investigate the disappearance of a robotics scientist. And the only witness to this disappearance is the scientist's prototype android, played by my co-star Jacqueline Goodbout.
Ooh. And now, so that last photo, like obviously, yeah, you're too mist covered in that last photo. Here's another photo of you looking very much the suave investigator. I really like this photo of you.
Oh yeah, the cinematography is great. I haven't seen the film yet, but what I have seen, it just looks very
and
sleek.
you are our dark and broody. Are you the lead?
Co-lead.
Co-lead, nice.
Yeah, it's me and the android.
You and that sounds like My Dinner with Android, like a futuristic version of My Dinner with Andre. Is this movie anything like that?
I'd watch that. No. It's like questioning about the soul and artificial intelligence and what makes a person alive, kind of deal.
We have all been questioning what makes a person alive as we sit in our homes doing everything.
Oh
on
yeah, some more than others, I imagine.
And I do, as I said, I love this look that they have you in. You playing the suave kind of detectives trying to solve the mystery while being like dark and brooding. That's a really good look on you. I'm used to seeing you being very joyous in the roles that I've seen you in, because you have a natural funniness to your persona. So this is very, very different. In fact, if we show the other movie that you were accidentally promoting at the beginning of the this is Distant Cousins, right?
This is Distant Cousins. This one we filmed last fall during COVID, which was an interesting shoot. Everyone was wearing masks and distancing, but it was like a small house. Films based in the 70s, or at least my scenes are in the 70s, hence the mustache.
That's not just hipster modern mustache. That is a time specific mustache.
No, that's a time specific thing. I just shaved my COVID beard and kept my COVID mustache.
Right, because if it was a modern one, there'd be scraggly beard with it, like I have too.
Right,
So it's very, very 70s, very Ned Flanders there. But still, that you have a little bit of that color. Although you're talking to a cop, so you can't be too happy in that photo.
No. Well, it's about a woman who looks back on her past childhood relationship with her cousins, and they have like a family secret that she's trying to uncover, and I'm part of her memory.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, it's actually really, really, I'm excited for this film as well. It's directed by Winifred Jong, who's a recent CSA and Directors Guild of Canada winner. She's kind of popping. And it's almost an entirely BIPOC and female set, which I found very refreshing. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, because behind the camera, even when in front of the camera seems very BIPOC to an audience, sometimes behind the camera is not, and we don't always know how that impacts what's being done. But you're saying like most of the crew positions were fulfilled by BIPOC and women.
Exactly. Yes.
That is fantastic.
There's like 2-3 guys in this, and everyone else are women.
Wow, that must have been a really fascinating for you to be on. That's fantastic.
And I was really excited. I'm sorry.
Where can people go and see this when it's ready?
It's not quite ready yet. I think they're trying for TIFF, but Winifred's very busy these days. So, and this is her passion project too, so she wants to get it right.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's not done until it's perfectly done.
Right.
Fantastic. It's so interesting, the difference between this and let's go back to the last photo. Like there you are looking like, suburban neighbor dad type. And there you are like sexy neo future, like you're giving Ryan Reynolds the run for the next Blade Runner kind of movie there.
I'll take that.
You're gonna have to get Elliot Page's abs, but
yeah.
but that's like, and then we go back to this other photo and we have like
dad bod.
Yeah, you're gonna say golly gee, like that's the father figure. And the other one,
weird.
the Ryan Reynolds one. That's fantastic. And the one that is being released tomorrow, is that available on streaming services, on Canadian platforms? How will people get to watch that one?
So that will be at the Wild Indie Festival for, I think, 3 months. They're doing the in-person festival in London, England, today and tomorrow, I believe. And the rest of it will be online starting tomorrow. For 90 days, they say.
So anyone, anywhere can like sign.
Anyone near, yeah. And it's one pass for £7 about. And you can see all the films. And there's about 60 films, I think. And they all look really cool. Like, I'm excited to see all of them. And I'm glad it's not just like one day.
So for like $20 Canadian, maybe, because you said £7. I'm just going off
£7.50. So
like you, and obviously because you're in your home with your partner or whoever, you get to watch the movie like of 60 up and coming movies. That's
including my own.
I love indie film. This is wow. I'm really excited.
Like, even if you don't want to see me, there's 59 other films you can watch.
Well, Raymond, the reason I'm going to get this is because I want to see you in this movie. It sounds fantastic. I can't wait to see you solve a mystery with an Andre. Andre the Android. My Dinner with Android. So everyone, go to the Wild Indie Festival.
Yes, Wild Indie Sci-Fi and Fantasy Film Festival.
And look up My Dinner with Android. Well,
Uncanny Valley.
Uncanny Valley. Raymond, this is fantastic. I'm so happy to have you here. Do you want to stick around and do the news with us later?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, sit right there. We're going to take a little break to look at some of our next guests' viral TikTok videos. So have you ever heard of Jokes for Hannah? Here are some jokes for Hannah.
Hey, Hannah!
Jeez, you scared me.
Hey, Hannah! What you doing?
I'm picking off the pumpkin seeds.
Are you sneaking pumpkin seeds?
You did first!
Hey, Hannah!
What?
What does a tick and the Eiffel Tower have in common?
I don't know right now. My heart is racing. A tick and the Eiffel Tower in common. I don't know.
They're both parasites.
Oh, parasite. Oh, that was a good pun. I'm having another one.
Hey! Hey, Hannah!
Oh.
Hey, Hannah!
Why you turned it down?
Hey, Hannah!
Yes?
Did you hear about the guy who got caught stealing a calendar?
His days are numbered.
Yeah, and he got 12 months.
I was so proud of myself. You knew I was going to say that too, I can tell.
Hey, Hannah.
What?
Can you do the thing with your sweater?
Really?
Yes.
I should have known. It's not going to be special for you anymore though, because you're going to show everybody. Ready?
Yep.
I'm a reindeer!
Hey, Hannah. Hey, Hannah.
Yes?
Hey, Hannah.
Can you... Okay.
What kind of pants do ghosts wear?
Transparent.
Nope.
Crap.
Boo jeans.
Oh! My answer sounds really dumb now. Oh my god. Boo jeans. Just imagine a ghost wearing blue jeans. Ooh. Sorry.
Hey, Hannah.
No.
Hey, Hannah.
No.
Hey, Hannah.
What?
Hey, Hannah.
What?
How do you spot the blind guy in a nudist colony?
He's wearing clothes?
It's not hard.
Oh. 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 Ugh. Oh. No. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your screen. Hanna Amelia. Hey, Hanna. Hey, Hanna. Hey, Hanna.
I shouldn't have expected that.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I forgot I sent the one that had the reindeer at the end.
And it's one of the ones we chose. We loved it. There's a lot of funny ones. It was hard to select our favorites from the package you sent us. This is what you get for producing a magician and mentalist's stage shows. Is a pandemic happens and they turn you into their prank victim for the internet.
Yeah, and it didn't help that at that point, when this all started, I had also started teaching from home. So I was there all the time for him to just like sneak up on me whenever. So this like dumb jokes thing was in our old apartment. It's in our new house, and I'm not safe anywhere.
Oh my God. Although I have to say, normally when people teach from home, and I know because I do a lot of online instruction for people, it's a torture for your partner because you have to be loud and engaging and enthusiastic. And if they're also working from home, like going to meetings and being part of panels and such, it's very, very obnoxious to have that partner. In your case, you had an obnoxious job that usually is at a school, and then your partner also has an obnoxious job. So it kind of works.
Yeah, some days it works like really well for one of us. Other days I had to go to school and teach because he would have like a virtual magic show. I like commandeered the virtual magic studio, as it's been dubbed, because we've put so much time into it. I was like, for once I want to get to use it, because I'm usually on the at the dining room table, because this is set up in here, so I can't even use it to teach in.
Oh my goodness. So he's doing virtual magic and you're teaching from the dining room table. That's
Yeah.
not fair. You deserve studio time too. No, these have gone viral on TikTok. You're a bit of a sensation. Dumb jokes for Hanna. And you're a teacher. What grades do you teach?
I teach grade 8, so 13, 14-year-olds.
So my understanding of TikTok as a young Gen Xer, it's for the little ones, right? It's the teenagers that like it, which means that you're teaching your audience.
Yeah, it did not take very long the very first day of school back in September. I even had one of the students I have in my homeroom this year comment on some of our videos at the end of summer, asking if I was still going to be at our school this year. Am I still teaching grade 8 this year? I want to be in your homeroom. So like they were commenting on the videos we already had. They've popped into our lives, and like I have a system with them because I told them I don't want to acknowledge them so that whoever, because you can't decide who's in your TikTok lives. I don't want them knowing that there are some of those younger viewers that TikTok has in the live and identify them. So we've worked out a system for them to know, for me to acknowledge that they're there without actually talking to them about it. But I've had times this year where I've gone to just like help out in a grade 6 or a grade 7 room. And by the end of the period, I've had at least a couple kids go, are you the joke girl from TikTok? So yeah.
That's fantastic. I mean, you do deserve your own fame. You're not just someone who produces magic shows. You've also written and produced and starred in your own shows as well. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that? So
Yeah,
I've seen the show that at least one of the shows that you've been in. So
yeah, it was. I've not been able to produce it more than once, because the first time when you saw it was the only time it's actually been done, which was in Saskatoon. It's called Awkward Girl, and it's really about my journey of self-acceptance, just who I am as an individual, but also within my own body, because I don't have the like societal thin, tall frame that we see on TV. And that was something that was really hard for me growing up and with other things in like my sphere. So being bullied as a young kid, you know, all my friends in high school were dating people and I never got asked out. So I just had this sense that I must be absolutely repulsive with the way I look. And that's why I wasn't dating. And just kind of how as an adult, I've come to accept and understand that those perceptions I had of myself were wrong. And so though I haven't had a chance to produce this show again, every year some version of the show gets told to my students, because in grade 8 it's that time when so many of those girls are going through that same experience, and so many of those kids are either, you know, saying offhand comments to their friends and not understanding, you know, how long it can impact someone. So when I tell the kids that, like, this is how I've been feeling and it still feels sometimes, and it's because of things people said to me when I was your age, like, your words have impact. And I always find it hits the kids a little bit harder because it's someone they've come to know and understand. And I teach 13, 14-year-olds, but I make no bones about like how much I love Disney and like things that as a kid or even their age, I would have kept quiet because it wasn't a cool thing. I also find there's a lot more acceptance now with what you can like, and it's a bigger sphere than when I was a kid. Like as a kid, you did not tell anyone you liked Star Wars when I was in school because you got bullied. So I read so many Star Wars books as a kid, and I would open them inside my old school desk and like slide them on top so that no one would see what the cover said, because I didn't want to get bullied. Like, kids had enough ammo, they didn't need more.
No, absolutely. And while it's an important narrative, it's a hard package to sell as an artist. I've also done a show on bullying, and it's wrapped in so many things that by the time you realize, oh, this is a show about bullying, you've not only paid the ticket, you've been sitting through 45 minutes of the material. And then you're like, oh yeah, we shouldn't bully people. Like, and it's hard because yours is more based around mountain climbing.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic metaphor. I can see the poster behind you, actually. Can you bring that poster forward for the audience to see?
I can.
This is a beautiful poster for Awkward Girl, which is a fantastic show. And I love the climbing the mountain imagery that you had about it. And it actually did bring a lot of people together. I saw the impact that show had, and it's fantastic. And I see whenever you produce the magic shows that you produce, even though I have tried to pitch you setting one on a fictitious cruise ship that's gone awry, and you've yet to take me up on that. You do such a great job as a producer. Before we end the interview, do you want to just let people know how they can see some of the magic shows that you are producing?
Absolutely. So the best way to see the dumb jokes for Hanna. All of our stuff is done through Jeff's social media. So it's all at Newman Mentalism. So NEWMAN, because everyone always questions how to spell Newman. But anything TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, it's all at Newman Mentalism. I run most of the Instagram stuff that goes up there too. So if you want to get a hold of me, if you want to see more Hey Hanna stuff, it's all through at Newman Mentalism, and that's where we post any upcoming shows that we're doing as well from the virtual magic studio.
That's fantastic. Hey, as the face, you deserve more time, and also more time for producers, especially as a woman producing in this industry, because as we were just talking with Raymond Tong, there's not a lot of, like, people don't realize sometimes when women are running the show, and it's important to like point out when women are running the show. And Hanna, you are one of those women, so round of applause for you.
I appreciate that, because whenever we're on that Fringe tour, so often when I'm hand-billing or talking to people before or after the show, they come up to me and they're like, oh, you're his like assistant? You're just coming around? And I'm like, no, I do so much more for this show.
This is my business too. Well, since you sound ready to give us the news, are you ready to do a news round with us?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, let's welcome back Kristin Mueller-Heaslip and Raymond Tong, and we're going to get ready and do the news together. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. So this is a segment that we like to call...
Oh yeah, that's me, sorry. The people who run the show. Before we call it the segment, I have two things to share. Let's see. As always, you can buy us a coffee, ko-fi.com/this is a talk show. We love you no matter what you give us, but we always like it when you give us money too. And you can check out Adam was on this podcast. It was pretty cool. So Streams and Variations. It's a fairly complicated project involving monologues and songs. And Adam was a part of episode 6. Was that right?
5.
Something like that. Yeah. And now it is time for This is a News Segment. So,
Dun, 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 dun. So the way that this works is Kristin's going to pull up a news article for us and explain the news article because we don't know what's going on in the world. And then I will hand off the news article to either Hanna or Raymond to start us off, and we'll round robin it until Kristin gets bored of what we're saying and claps us off and gives us our next news article until we are done.
That's right. And I have a real scorcher to start out our news segment with. We're starting today with news from France, which is always fun. So I don't know if you have ever noticed this, but nonsense tends to travel along language lines. So a superstition or pseudoscience will tend to stay within the same language for a while before spreading farther. So a bit of nonsense that was around the Anglosphere last year has now made it to France. And that is this. Butthole tanning, le bronzage du périnée, which is tanning your perineum, has made it to France, and they love it over there. So this is an article from a French newspaper, basically telling people don't do this. It's a bad idea. You don't want to get a sunburn on your butthole. So I think this has got some potentials for discussion, both on the practice itself and what you think the French might add to it with their cultural love of the behind. So we'll take it away, panel.
I'm seeing Instagram there, which says that it is a social media thing. Hanna, you're our social media star today. You get to start us off with butthole tanning.
In France.
Oh my word. To me, because I didn't do a lot of tanning, like when I was a teenager and stuff like that, but I did for grad. Because it was, you wanted to have that nice golden look when you were in your dress. And, I'll use that like self tanner before my skin gets some sun. But my question is, what do you need your butthole tanned for? Like, what activity are you doing where you're like, take a look at how my butt's been touched by the sun. Ooh, such a nice little like kiss of color. Like, what is it for?
It's actually supposed to have health benefits. Which it does not, just so you know. It does not.
That's how you get the most vitamin D in there.
I think it's vitamin B.
Vitamin B for butt. I don't know. As a gay man, vitamin B sometimes needs some vitamin D. That's all I'm going to say right there. Raymond, if you were asked to do this for a film, what do you think you would do?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I'd depends on the script. If it helps the story.
Love to see the script which justifies butthole tanning. Yeah.
Yes.
Our test audience say there's a plot hole. Test audience say there's a plot hole. Unless this man's butt is tanned fully, we do not believe that this would happen to him.
I really cannot stress enough, people, please don't do this. If you've ever gotten a sunburn on like your elbow or something like that, you're like, that really hurts. You really do not want your behind to have a sunburn on it, and it never gets any sun whatsoever. So it's going to be vulnerable. So please keep your pants on at the beach.
My vulnerable part.
And clearly those aren't the French from like the cloudy part of France, because I know like as someone with Welsh ancestry, like I either reflect sunlight or I get burnt. Like there's not I'm blinding people or I'm turning into a tangerine. There's no. So people who have a bit more exposure to sun maybe think that this is cool, but I certainly couldn't the sunburns I've had, I couldn't survive this.
I think whatever color your skin is, there's probably not a ton of melanin in your butthole. So moving on.
But how do you know?
We'll conduct a survey before we do next season. Raymond.
Very important scientific research to be done on that one. Okay, moving on to our next story. This is the genre of story I like to call science proves water is wet. Ice cream business gets overwhelmed with applications after doubling wage to $15 an hour. The restaurant industry and food service industry having trouble attracting workers right now as things reopen in the United States and Canada. This, I believe in I forget where, Arkansas maybe. This ice cream parlor was having trouble getting staff, and then they did the unprecedented step of offering higher wages and better working conditions, and all of a sudden they have a workforce. Thoughts?
But I thought it was a worker shortage.
Yeah, it's not a worker shortage.
No, not a worker shortage.
No one wants to get yelled at by a Karen for less than $15 an hour. That's the shortage that it is. It's an empathy shortage.
Or like that scene in Stranger Things with the little kid ordering the ice cream. I try this flavor, and orders like 20 different spoons.
Oh, that would be, that's everyone in a ice cream shop.
$7 an hour if it's half the wage.
Oh yeah. American minimum wage is quite low. Actually,
$7.25, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
and then
depending on what
job, it can be as low as $1 an hour, and they're only paying you the dollar so that they can fire you, right? Like they treat it the same way that like a haircutter rents a chair. That's sort of how they treat being a waiter in the States too, which is why the American tipping rates should be higher than the Canadian ones. Although sometimes because English travels across social media, and like the Canadian tipping standard is almost at the American level, even though we pay our waiters much more than they pay their waiters to still pay people properly. What's the lowest wage that you've worked for, Hannah? What's your worst high school job?
I didn't work a lot in high school. My parents' philosophy was that school was my job. So I was an academic kid. I was going for like academic scholarships. So I didn't work a whole lot. But I did do an internship. So for a summer, I worked for about minimum wage at a vet clinic doing like janitorial work. So a lot of cleaning, and at like Fridays, it was scrub down the surgery room, and stay away from the cats that have the red signs on their door because they hiss anytime you get near them. So that was, and because that was back, a decade and a bit ago, I think it was around like 12 at the time, maybe. It was very much like whatever minimum wage was here in Alberta at the time.
And then you became a veterinarian. No, that actually.
And then you became
that was actually
star.
my plan. I was going to be a veterinarian. I did all my high school courses to set myself up for that, and then realized very quickly in college that it was not a good idea for a number of reasons, including the fact that I am incredibly allergic to cats. But somehow just thought I was going to get past that and be okay with it.
No.
Well, I worked for a clown when I was 16, like a fairground, not a good clown, like a fairground clown for like $5 an hour.
No.
And I ran the cotton candy machine, and I got like cotton candy in my hair, and it was terrible.
Did the clown chase you?
No, but he was paying us under the table for less than minimum wage. So yeah, so and then I found out I'm allergic to clowns, and that's why I do this show on the internet. Anyway, moving on. Next story. This is actually sort of an update on a story we covered a couple shows ago. Another Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina candle strikes again. Gwyneth Paltrow's company sued after a man claims vagina-scented candle exploded. Did you know that candles can explode? This is actually a real thing. If you get a candle wet and then light it, there is a danger that it will actually explode because of some of the chemical. I looked this up because I was like, how does a candle even explode? Like, I thought it would be more dangerous that it could set something on fire. Anyway, this man actually bought the candle, as opposed to the last story we covered where someone had been won it as a prize or something like that. And then it exploded. But this has happened twice with, I just want you to imagine like vag scented wax exploding in your living room.
Raymond, any thoughts on a vaginal explosion in your living room?
That sounds like a very exciting night. I mean, there's so many jokes. I read this headline when it came out, and it's just like, it's not The Onion, it's not Beaverton, it's
the actual
Stranger Than Fiction.
And Kristin's description just made it worse, because the how you make the vagina candle explode is by getting it wet, and there's just a whole segment of jokes right there.
Just like the real thing. This candle's got everything.
Hey, Hannah.
Yeah, Hannah can take that one.
Oh man. And the thing is, like, we have we have the 3 wick candles downstairs all the time. And the moment you were like, they explode, I went, oh my gosh, do I need to go check on it all the time? Because like, and I think any kind of candle, if you have it explode, I feel like you're not going to want to smell that ever again, because it'll just be everywhere. And then you get that idea of, if it's near, couch or carpet, it's going to get ground in. And then it's just like, oh, your entire living room smells like Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina for who knows how long.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't sound good at all.
And then you get this aversion, a psychological aversion to candles and vagina smells. Yeah.
Why was this product produced, and why did anyone buy it? That's
ego.
So many questions.
Yeah, but why did they buy it is what I want to know. Like, even if you're into that particular scent, I'm like, why do you want a candle? Like, it's just an odd thing.
Whose vagina is it?
And how mad do you have to be that it exploded that you own up to the fact that you bought it?
Yeah, that you were not like, well, at least the other article that we read about, that we covered about this candle exploding, someone was like, I did not buy this. Like, that was very heavily fronted in the article, which maybe she did. I don't know. Like, but it was like, it was a gag gift or a prize or something like that. I can't remember.
At
but
least
this man
no
was
one
like,
was hurt.
I spent $75 on this candle and it exploded. $75.
$75? Next story. I can't. Enough of this.
Where's the manager?
Enough of this.
All right, moving on to our science segment, news from space. It's not actually space news this week. Scientists identified the maximum age humans can reach. It's 150 years old. But how you deal with stress appears to be vital in reaching a longer lifespan. This is the science says. Because apparently eventually, like, you get old enough that your body can't really recover from trauma or stress or injury, and that time you're gonna, all other things being equal, you will die from that.
Anyone want to live to 150?
No. And I can't help but think that, like, I'm a person who gets stressed quite easily. I have quite a bit of anxiety. So now this article is giving me stress about the fact that my stress will keep me from living a long time.
Oh, I have so much stress that I just know that I'm already dead, probably. Like I've had nurses have a hard time following a pulse, so I'm just I'm already undead from the amount of stress that I carry with me. Raymond, are you? I think you're visible on the YouTube feed, but you're not visible in my Zoom
Yeah,
feed.
I can't see you right here either. But I think Raymond might be frozen. Oh.
Oh no.
Oh, Raymond, come back on. Yeah, Raymond's. Yeah, we'll soldier on without him, but Raymond, please come back on as soon as you can. This happens. It's Zoom. It's life. But moving on, let's go on to our next story. This is a Western Canada story. Saskatoon-based company makes massive discovery. There's a giant helium deposit in Climax, Saskatchewan. I think we mostly included this story for the name. But yeah, I guess that goes with the vagina candle story. So lots of, and yeah, I was going to try to make a joke. Here is Raymond coming back about people's voices getting really high pitched. Raymond, you're back. Okay.
Hello, internet died.
Okay, next story. This is about a giant helium deposit in Climax, Saskatchewan. So there's some jokes there. Go at it.
Wait, can I see the headline again?
Sure, sorry. Saskatoon-based helium company makes massive discovery. It's an absolutely giant helium deposit in Climax, Saskatchewan.
Climax, Saskatchewan. Is that where they make the candles?
Hey, good. You brought it together. Excellent.
Fantastic. I think we've covered this one 3 times now, so we can move on to the next one.
Okay. All right. This has been making the news a lot. Amazon introduces tiny Zen booths for stressed out warehouse workers. It's one of those things you can't make it up. So it's like a little booth where you can go and de-stress from your job that's too stressful.
It's like one of those suicide booths from Futurama.
Oh, dark. I was thinking about other things that you could do in a privacy booth in the middle of an Amazon warehouse, but suicide was not on that list. Maybe it should have been.
We've been binging Futurama lately, so it's just on the brain.
I think they're mental
what's
health.
in this booth?
Yeah, what's in it?
I believe some
Candles?
plants. Candles? No, I don't think there's candles, but I believe there's some
They might
plants and maybe
explode.
like, yeah, maybe some soothing music. I think it's just a little, what it kind of makes me think of is the things that they do in like slaughterhouses to keep animals calm, you know, like it's like, I don't think they have any isolation booths, but there's like certain things that they do in order to like make it slightly less, you know, horrifying for the animals. Not that there's a great ending for them, but that's kind of what it makes me think of. It's like, oh, this job is dehumanizing and awful and
The
stressful.
parallels.
We're not going to change it, but you can go in this booth for a few minutes. They don't even let them go to the bathroom. I don't know how they give them booth breaks. I mean, they could just put in some more bathrooms. That seems better because you can also
Maybe
just go and
there's
distress.
a bucket in there.
I mean, I worked at a restaurant that had a crying chair, so
Oh.
I think this has that sort of component to it. It's just like when you need to scream and you don't want anyone to
Or
hear you.
the fridge. You go into the walk-in fridge and you sit on the milk crate.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Because then you're
Just
cold,
cry.
crying, and you have a great print on your ass. Like
Yeah.
it's.
But don't put the grate on your butt while you're tanning your butthole, because then you
Yes.
just have a crisscross
No.
pattern.
Yes.
And if you're going in because you think that's going to help with the burn you got on your asshole, no, that sudden temperature change, it's just not the right way to treat a burn.
Now put some aloe on it. If you have an aloe plant in your house, put some aloe on it. That treats sunburns. There's my
Maybe
other
there's
health tip
some
of the year.
aloe in that booth.
Yeah, they did have plants. Aloes are very hardy, you know. They
These
don't
are
need a lot of
important
sun.
things. Maybe
right.
Frances McDormand's in there, you know, like you go in and Frances McDormand's there. She's like, I'm blending in with the workers. Sure, okay. That's my Frances McDormand impersonation. That's terrible.
That sounded a bit more like
That wouldn't soothe me. I'd panic because I love that
Yeah.
woman. I'd be like,
oh my god. What are you doing here?
Well, when she had to work for Nomadland, she had to like blend into all these workforces. And I guess because she's only in high tier movies, all the blue collar people were just like, sure, this old lady wants to work here. Like they all just took her.
They took her at face value. She's like, I have an Oscar. Doesn't she have an Oscar? Probably she has an Oscar.
Two.
I was in Fargo.
She's three. She has
All
3 Oscars.
Yeah. All right, moving
Reno?
on.
Wow.
Speaking of Zoom mishaps, Raymond, don't worry, you haven't fucked up on Zoom as badly as this guy. William Amos, who I'd never heard of before this week, has been caught for a second time exposing himself on camera during the House of Commons. The first time, I believe he was changing out of his gym shorts or something. He went for a run and then came back and his camera was on. This time he went to he relieved himself into a coffee cup during a session of Parliament, or something happening to that effect. So congratulations, William Amos, on getting kicked out of the cabinet but also becoming more famous. So who knows, Prime Minister 2024.
He's not dreamy enough.
That's not a general attribute of Canadian politicians, Adam. You're just
It is now.
spoiled because of
Wait.
Jagmeet Singh.
So he urinated into a coffee cup?
Yeah. Whether it had coffee or not in it, I don't know. History does
Was
not
he
relate.
topping himself off?
Oh, so Hannah, what do you think about this article?
Oh,
William, you are canceled.
it's been a year.
Sorry.
How do you not know what your camera can see? And how do you not even think to just like, hey, I'm gonna do this, even if it's like a little bit sketchy, let's just like turn the video off for a minute. Like Jeff knows at this point not to get anywhere near any of my school stuff with a dumb joke, because if like there's even like a piece of paper that has anything school related on it, he knows I won't let him post it.
Mhm.
Because I can't risk, like, if you can see from a far distance my student's name's upside down, I'm like, no, you can't. So like if he can be that particular and like see that, how do you not think to turn your camera off if you're gonna take a piss in a coffee cup?
You don't. No, this is clearly like
Yeah.
a fetish of some kind, right? And listen, it's been a long pandemic. We're all getting really weird. It's fine, but you can't do it in front of your colleagues, right? You got to find a safe way to explore that stuff with consenting partners.
Wait. We're at the pandemic and we're all getting pretty, I feel left out because I just know that my libido has shrunk like a raisin in the sun.
Listen, when you find something that does it for you, I understand. You
Yeah,
gotta like
you
hold
find
on to
outlets.
that. Yeah. You
Or
find
I'm
coffee
something that
cups.
brings that back.
my part of my libido, and I'm just like, what's going?
Maybe peeing in coffee cups is his thing because of that, Adam. You don't know.
Nothing
right?
else works.
Exactly. Like no judgment if that's your thing, whatever, right? But like just not
No,
like
I'm judging
not
him.
at work.
Judging him for having a functioning libido at this stage of the pandemic. Screw him.
The other thing is
Will
like
Smith's body and nothing else. I only want people who are happy about how fat they've gotten. That is the one thing I want right now.
like I kind of hope it's a sex thing because like if it's just incompetence, he's a lawmaker. He's responsible for like high up stuff that like confidential information and things like that.
Yeah, and he was in cabinet. I forget what his post was, but he actually had some cabinet post. Not anymore. He's resigned from that. He's still in parliament.
Gilbert and Sullivan have an entire musical oeuvre of bits all about how bad parliamentary lawmakers are. So from Iolanthe to the Pirates of Penzance to everything in between, this is not a newsflash that parliamentarians aren't the best lawmakers.
It reminds me of when Ford went into quarantine at his grandma's place. His aides had to teach him how to use a laptop.
Yes.
It's like, well, you don't know how to use a laptop? It's
and also it's not hard.
But you know what was so telling about his previous career was that he had a whole bunch of unprogrammed Blackberries that he had bought in bulk. So he had a bunch of burner phones like a drug dealer might have, and you're like, that's what he knew how to work, was like 2002 Blackberries that he would work on and then dispose of them and then work on. And
see, he knows that, but he apparently doesn't know how to distribute drugs.
No, yeah, it's ironic,
No?
okay?
Yeah.
Someone cue up the Alanis.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's move on. We always love to close on a positive story. Not that we've been too negative this round. So there's a new LGBTQ Pride set from Lego. Everyone is awesome. So apparently the designer made this for himself, had him on his desk, and then Lego was like, that's pretty cool. We're going to distribute that. So everyone is awesome.
It's good to be part of Team Gay.
Yeah.
I just love that.
Yeah. It just makes you feel fuzzy inside.
Yeah, it warms the cockles. That's what it's supposed to do too, right? And it's got the one for Black and brown people on there. It's got the transgender and non-binary colors, as well as it's got all the things. All of them. Do you have any plans for Pride?
No. Lockdown, yeah.
Pride Month, it's an exciting time of we're not in America, so nothing will happen.
We're not allowed outside.
There's some Lego, apparently. There's some Lego you can do to get in the spirit of it. So
nothing says pride like buying something a corporation made that a rainbow was stuck to.
Sadly, yes.
The bare minimum.
The bare minimum. I'm actually going to talk about the history of capital and pride at the top of the next episode, because it's a bit more complex than we want to think right now in kind of like capitalism, late stage capitalism sucks. But that will be next week, because it's our last show of the season, actually. And we're going to do a comedy Pride blowout. We have two amazing queer comedians. We have Robert Watson and Alice Rose joining us.
Amazing.
It's not next week, but in 2 weeks on June 12th. That's our next show.
Yeah.
So before we go, let's wrap things up by letting people know how they can get in touch with our awesome guests this week. So Hanna, once again, how can people get in touch with you?
I'm at the real H Rudd. That's an old handle, but at the real H Rudd, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And then if you want to watch the dumb jokes for Hanna, they are on at Newman Mentalism on TikTok.
Fantastic. And Raymond Tong, we were going to bring up your movie poster as if you want to tell us how we can watch your movie one more time.
So you can see the Uncanny Valley at the Wild Indie Sci-Fi and Fantasy Film Festival starting tomorrow. It'll be up for 3 months until the end of August. If you missed that, Oakville Film Festival of Film and Art will be airing it on June 28th between 8 and 11 p.m. with a sci-fi feature called Between the Waves. Yeah, and I'm at all the popular social medias at Raymond S. Tong.
Fantastic. Cool. And Kristin, do we have anything left to promote on our side?
Just buy us a coffee, like we say. ko-fi.com/this-is-a-talk-show. The show will always be free. We'll never make you pay anything for it. But if you want to send us $1 or $2 to show your appreciation, we love it. And more importantly, whatever ridiculous name you put in the name box, I will read it on the air, with the obvious exceptions of, like, gross slurs or something, very insulting. And that's unless it's funny. If it's funny, I might even read it if it's insulting. Okay.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us this week. It's been a pleasure to have you both. We hope to have you back again. And Kristin, why don't you sing us out with something?
Absolutely, I would be happy to. So I have a song here that was actually recommended to me by former guests, Mark from the Gorsey family. So finally, Mark, my song from that Momus song that you wanted me to sing. You're gonna hear it. Let me just turn on my thing and get, here we go. Everything's working now. Let me just make sure everything's in order. There we are. All right. I like this song because it's sort of like The Partisan by Leonard Cohen, but it's about a ridiculous asshole. One of my people. I always knew that I could seize the world's imagination and show the possibilities for transformation. I saw a nation in decay, but also a solution, permanent cultural revolution. Whenever I played my protest songs, the press applauded me, rolled out the red carpet and parted the Red Sea. But the petty bourgeois Philistines, they all stayed away. They preferred their artists to have nothing to say. How did I pass my time on earth? What got into me? I was a Maoist intellectual in the music industry. I showed the people how they lived and told them it was bad. Showed them the insanity inside the bureaucrat, and the archetypes and stereotypes that were my stock in trade. Toppled all the ivory towers that privilege had made. Although I tried to change your mind, I never tried your patience. All I tried to do was to point out your exploitation. But the powers that be took this to be a personal insult and refused to help me start my personality cult. How did I pass my time on earth? Now it can be revealed. I was a Maoist intellectual in the entertainment field. I left the normal world behind and started living in a hinterland between dissolution and self-discipline. I burned the midnight oil to build my way of seeing, a miner at the coalface of meaning. The rich despise the songs I wrote, which told the poor their worth, told the shy to speak and told the meek to take the earth. But thy downfall came from being three things the working class had hated: agitated, organized, and overeducated. How did I pass my time on earth? How did I bear witness as a Maoist intellectual in the entertainment business? And how was I treated in this world and in this industry as a Maoist intellectual became a hotel doorman. I stood there on the doormat, clutching my forgotten discs in their forgotten format, trying to hand them out to all the stars who'd sauntered in, the ones who hadn't lived like me, who hadn't lived in vain. I gave up ideology the day I lost my looks. I never found a publisher for my little red book. And when I died, the energy released by all of my frustration was nearly enough for reincarnation. But if I could live my life again, the last thing that I'd be is a Maoist intellectual in the music industry. No, if I could live my life again, I think I'd like to be the girl whose job it is to stop the girls who think like me. Yeah, if I could live my life again, that's the thing I'd be. The girl who plots the stumbling blocks in the lives of likes of me. Good night, Fraggles. We'll see you in 2 weeks. I love you.